Hello, welcome to Farrell Swim Tech. My name is John Farrell. This is the live stream where I take my 12 or 15 plus years of racing experience and 12 years of private coaching experience and help you get faster in the water. So this is a free service I do for Team Zoot. And this is originally streamed on their Facebook page. It is also streamed concurrently. It's also concurrently streamed on. No. I upload it to both my YouTube and Rumble page. Okay, so Catherine, just so you know, these fires. Okay, so I was talking pre-show about a bunch of dirt and a bunch of ash that blew over yesterday because we got some really big eastern winds, east to west. I live in Los Angeles County. So for those of you that don't really know Los Angeles County, is that it's bordered to the north by a pretty big mountain range. So if you're going from Los Angeles to Vegas, you go up what's called the Cajon Pass. And then you get into Victorville, Hesperia, Victorville, Barstow. That's known as the high desert. So there's like a higher elevation than a lower elevation. And then a lot of the mountains to the north and to the eastern in the Mount Baldy region, all of those caught on fire. Now, thankfully, a lot of it just burnt forest area. There wasn't relative for how much area that burned. There wasn't that many people that were directly affected, as in like homes burnt down, stuff like that. As far as I understand, there were not a lot of people got evacuated. Not a lot of homes actually burnt down. So this wasn't near as devastating. It burnt a huge area, but it's going to be okay. The only thing that I'm worried about is if we get heavy rains this year. And I understand this is like totally not on topic of swimming, but you know, these things happen. It's a live stream. People comment, stuff like that. But yeah, the only thing I'm actually really worried about is if we get heavy rains this year. If we get heavy rains this year, that could cause a lot of mudslides. That could potentially be even worse than the fires themselves. But anyway, so we're here to talk about swimming. So this is kind of the restart of my freestyle stroke technique series. So I do these about 2 times every year. This year I did things a little bit differently. So for those of you that have been on the team, from January until about March, I mostly did drills. I decided to do drills this year because I feel like there's a lot of people that could get some good usage from drills. And not only that, have me explain what the drill is and why it's used. I feel like there's a lot of, like if you go to a master's team or stuff like that, there's a base knowledge of these drills that they kind of assume a lot of swimmers have. And if there isn't that knowledge, they kind of give like a really weak explanation. So earlier in the year, January until March, I spent about 1 stream a week for 3 months, just drills. Here's a drill. What is it used for? Why is it good for you? And what are the things you need to focus on in order to do the drill right? So we're going to restart this series, and I am going to have a whole list of these drills just ready to go. So then when I talk about a drill, I'm just going to post the link right in. I'm going to post the link either in the chat or in the chat for Facebook, or a link will be in the description below. And I'm going to try and actually tag it. I'm going to try using tags this time around, just so you'll be able to know exactly what drill goes with what section of the stream. And that's basically going to mean I can't be lazy this time around. Okay, so this stream is going to be mostly about the mindset of a swimmer. Because if you're watching this stream, you already have a baseline understanding. This stuff isn't easy. It's not like hopping on a bike and being able to push pedals down. It's not like strapping on a pair of tennies and just running. It's putting one foot in front of the other. When you hop in a pool, you're there's a good probability you're putting one arm in front of the other and you're moving your legs and you're not going anywhere. You're just not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere fast, and you're getting to the end, and you can't breathe, and you're frustrated. I mean, and you can't breathe while you're swimming. You feel like you just got a sack of bricks in your feet. Your legs are dragging on the bottom of the pool. You're just like, okay, what is going on? Why am I not picking this up? That's what this stream is for today. So we're going to talk a lot more about differences between being in water and being on concrete. Because the number one thing, first and foremost, we need to understand is that water is not concrete, okay? Water does not react the same way to stress and force that concrete does. Water is unforgiving. It has a sweet spot in terms of speed and pressure, okay? So let's kind of talk about this a little bit. Concrete, asphalt, concrete, hard packed trail. These are solids, okay? I know this is going to sound very insulting, but just go with me on this. Those are solids, okay? Solids are densely packed atoms that don't give away when you put force on them, within reason, okay? You're on the bike, you push the pedal down, you move forward. If I'm putting my hand on my desk and I push down, I'm going to move upwards, okay? Water is a liquid. What is a liquid? A liquid is a bunch of molecules that kind of slippy slidey all the way around each other, all right? There's no specific form. There's no specific, configuration of these atoms. They're all slippy sliding around. Why does that make everything different? The state of matter actually really, really, really matters, okay? Why is water so different? Water is different because if you push on it with not enough force, okay, so if you're barely pushing on water, what's actually happening is the water molecules will just slip and slide around your arm, around your hand, and you're not going to get any purchase, okay? You're putting your hands in a McDonald's ball pit and you're swiping it to the side, and all the balls are just going around your arm. Okay, you're not pushing any balls backwards, okay? I use the McDonald's ball pit because a lot of us remember McDonald's ball pits, rest in peace, and that's kind of the better analogy here. So if you push with not enough force, what will happen is all the balls are going to slide around your arm and you're not really going to push anything backwards. Now, if you push with force, you're going to actually push some balls backwards, okay? You're going to push some balls backwards because you're hitting them with enough force that they're actually moving in the direction you want them to go, okay? So you push with more force, stuff goes this way. Not enough force, everything flows around your hand, around your legs, and this is why you're not moving anywhere, okay? We need to learn, and that's what this course does, is I'm teaching you how to understand, okay, this is how I push water, okay? We need to push water. Now, let me just kind of define something for you, okay? You don't pull water. I understand there's a pull, there's a kick. I'm going to talk about pulling. I'm going to talk about kicking. In reality, we're actually pushing water. We're pushing water down. And trust me, we'll get way into this in future episodes. So we're pushing water down. So when we push on water, we're pushing with a force and a speed. We are creating what is known as pressure. We are putting a force over a surface area, and we're pushing down with an acceleration that is causing us to have a velocity. And trust me, I go into the weeds on that one. I bring out calculus, which makes me cringe. Don't worry. There'll be no actual math. It's all theoretical math. Okay, so don't freak out. Don't freak out. I know I said the big C word. Especially those of you that are dentists, you really start freaking out. You're like, no, calculus on teeth. I saw that one day and I was like, dang it, I knew calculus was evil. So when we push, we want to push with pressure. Okay, we want to push with pressure. Pressure is a force over an area. What is the area? The area is your hands, your forearm, and all the way up till just about your bicep. Okay, about mid bicep is generally what we swimmers, ardently believe is when we grab water and we push it backwards, this is what we do. This is how we move water forward, okay? Now, I'm going to show you 3 examples. I, this year, actually finally refilmed myself swimming. And you're going to notice my technique kind of sucks for me. And I realize, wow, I really do need to train swimming more, but I don't. Because I typically teach swim lessons during the club workout. So I've been teaching an hour and a half of swim lessons like literally the entire summer. So I have had 0 time to train. So my stroke technique has definitely suffered. But some of you are going to be like, what? This is what you call suffering? So anyway, so I have 3 separate instances of me swimming here. So this is slow. Then slow for me is swimming about a 130 per 100. I can't make myself swim slower than a 130 per 100. I know that there's people who come to me, and I know a lot of you are swimming around the 2 minutes. I was a high school All-American swimmer. I swam for Brigham Young University. I've been teaching stroke technique for 12 years. I can't swim slower than a 130. That's just how I swim. Okay, so this is my slow. So this is about 130. So we're going to kind of go through and we're going to look at these. And so number 1, what you see is a very, very slow kick. There's a very slow arm pull, okay? Now, you see underwater, my arms just look like they're slipping through the water, and they're going much faster than my overall speed, okay? So, the main difference between this and what you're going to see in the next 2 videos is this is just very relaxed. You can also see my kick. My kick amplitude is actually pretty big. So now we're going to go. So this is my typical speed. So what you're going to see is the arm speed is picked up a little bit. There's a little bit more kick. So I am exerting more pressure on the water. So I'm not necessarily moving my arms faster. What I'm doing here is I am putting more force on the water, and this force is showing. So if you kind of look at this looks more like, okay, my body is actually moving more in line with how my arms are pushing. Because what I'm doing is as I'm pushing myself forward in the water, my arms are making a solid table or a solid pushing surface on the water, and I'm grabbing that water, and I'm pushing with a force and a speed that is allowing the water to behave like a solid, okay? Now, that's going to be item number 1, is we need to treat water like it's a solid. However, this solid is very, very, very picky for when it wants to be a solid. The solid is picky when you hit it, when you push on it with a certain force and a certain speed, okay? Now, the ratio between force and speed, they're kind of linear as they go up. So just remember here in the slow instance, and I need to add the amount of time it takes me to do these. So like I said, this is about 130 per 100. The slow is very small amounts of force, and about for me, in order to go this pace, I have to push my arms very slowly through the water. Okay, this is basically what I would do. This would be what I would do if I'm finishing up a couple hard efforts, and I'm swimming an easy 50. Okay, if I'm swimming an easy 50 or an easy 100, this is the pace that I would do. So I've slowed down. This is basically my walk. Okay, this is me walking in water. All right, comparatively in terms of effort. Okay, this is my walk in terms of effort. So with normal would be my jog. Okay, this is me jogging. This is about I'd say this is roughly about a zone 2 effort for me. And this is going to be roughly, a sub 130. This is probably about 125 per 100. Okay, so this is about 120, 125 per 100 for me. And this is a jog. This is a jog for me. This is, I'm going to go out for a zone 2 run. This is just how I do my zone 2 swim. So more pressure, a little more speed, but more pressure, more force that I'm actually exerting on the water. So then this is the last one, and this is my fast. So this is about, I would say, this is going to be a sub 110 per 100. This might actually be a sub 105 per 100. So the big thing that you're seeing is a very increased turnover with the arms and a whole lot more legs, okay? So the key is here then this is about, this would be a VO2 max effort. This isn't an all-out sprint. This is a VO2 max effort. So like I said, this for me is going to be somewhere around the 105, 110 range. So what I'm doing is I'm increasing the arm speed, and I'm greatly increasing the amount of pressure. So like I said here, there's a weird relationship between pressure and arm speed. And unfortunately, it's not empirical, okay? So this is the part that is admittedly the most frustrating. This part is the most frustrating about swimming. There's no empirical evidence on this. They are starting to come out with power meters for hands. And probably within the next year, I'm probably going to pick one of those up. Because I really want to see what the difference is in terms of power. But now here's the problem. They're not easily accessible for people. Like I've seen a swim power meter that costs roughly about $600. And the thing is, even with that $600, it's not going to really help fix your form. It's just going to give you another data point. Unfortunately, unlike the bike, we don't really have power meters for swimming. What we have are times. What we have are send-offs, where you have to be able to feel the water, okay? This is the next big part of the stream today. Feeling the water. What the heck does that mean? You're going to hear this a lot, especially if you're combing through a bunch of YouTube videos and you're looking at, okay, why do I suck at swimming? Because like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because you're like, okay, what's going on? You got to get the feel of the water. The feel of the water is, like I just described, it is this magic ratio between pressure and speed of the arms and the legs. Because a lot of you are finding out you're not moving your arms very fast and you're not going anywhere. And some of you are finding out, but I try to move my arms super fast, but I'm also not going anywhere. What's going on? Unfortunately, with swimming, there's a lot more that has to do with your overall speed in the water. Just like on the bike, if you're standing up in gigantic bulky clothing, you're going to go slow, okay? If you're tucked in your aero position, and so like if you're able to output 200 watts on the bike, okay? You can output 200 watts for 5 hours on the bike, all right? If you are tucked in and wearing aero clothing, aero helmet, tucked in, you're going to go faster than if you're standing up on a penny farthing and still pushing out 200 watts on the pedals. So just like with cycling, there's a lot to do with our stroke mechanics. There's a lot to do with effective pushing area, effective kicking area, with effective body positioning. Just like getting aero on the bike, we got to be nice and horizontal on the water. And that's a lot of the nuts and bolts that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be think of this stream as a bike fitter, okay? You still got to learn how to be able to push it. You got to be able to push the pedals, you got to push the water. Now, what my explicit goal is to get you in the position to where you can. Okay? I can't tell you how many people I work with that pull like this. Their arm is almost perfectly flat. Fingers are here, and they're pushing like this. Instead of pushing like this, they're pushing, dragging the elbow backwards, and they're like, well, why am I not swimming fast? Dragging the elbow back only gets about this much area that you're actually pushing on the water. We need to get that hand down in the water. We got to set that whole arm ready to push. So a lot of what we're doing here is working on the form, working on the technique, getting your mind in the right place to where all of this stuff, you actually have the capacity to be able to push the water, okay? Now, a couple things that you're going to want to do, and we're going to shift over into a lot more of kind of my theories. I have a fair amount of swim theories, but before we move on, something that you're really going to want to do is you're going to want to start working on your flexibility. Flexibility is absolutely one of the main keys of pushing your swim to the next level, especially for you runners and cyclists in the lower body. Hamstrings and hip flexors, quads, and glutes. Those are the main areas that you're truly going to need to work on. And this kind of brings up one of the sponsors of this Feral Swim Tech is Dynamic Triathlete. Now, Dynamic Triathlete is an app and a website that gives you 20-minute stretching routines every single day. And these stretching routines are fantastic. I typically, and I'm not that great at doing them every day just because I'm a little lazy and I'm doing yard work like no other right now. But whenever I do a run, I make sure and do one of the 20-minute stretching routines. Now, the stretching routines are really good. They are done by the routines are set up by professionals, and they know what they're doing. And I've been a yoga guy most of my life. I've been basically Gumby ever since I was a kid. Stretching has always been super important to me. And so it will be a huge game changer for you too. If you click the link in the comments, you're going to come to this page. Now, there's a lot of blah, blah, blah here. You know, lots of why should you be stretching? You need to stretch because it makes you feel good. And for swimming, what this does is this allows you to reach further. This allows you to have better body positioning and everything. Okay, so you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah on this website. So scroll to the bottom, $85 a year, $10 a month. If you use offer code SWIM, SWIM, you get 10% off. So it's going to be less than $80 a year. This is a super, super good deal for a solid stretching routine. Way cheaper than a yoga studio. And going to be around a bunch of other sweaty ladies and sweaty dudes. And you don't have the namaste garbage. This is just good stretching, good routines. They also now have some training plans. So if you're starting your triathlon journey and you want a decent training plan, they actually have some good training plans. I mean, it's very basic. It's pretty bare bones, but at the same time, it'll get you ready for race day. And they also have the stretching routines to where you're going to avoid injury. You're just going to have a better overall training and racing experience because you're more flexible. And one of the biggest things about flexibility is injury prevention. Shoulders, lower back, hips, and legs. So all around, you're going to be more flexible. You're going to be better handled or better prepared to tackle swim training and totally nail your swim during the race. DynamicTriathlete.com, offer code SWIM, SWIM, helps get you 10% and also helps this stream. So now let's go over the theories. So we've already talked about theory number 1 is we got to treat water like it's a solid, okay? Treat water like it's a solid. We really want to pretend that we're grabbing a brick of ice and we're going to push that brick of ice down. What does this mean? Well, we got to have stiff arms. We got to engage our arms the entire time. We got to engage our wrists. We don't want our wrists flopping around. That's actually one of the biggest problems that I see is when people push, that wrist comes here and then they go boop. Yeah. Sudden flicks of the body do you no good. Strong, continuous pushing will do you some good. So what we want to do is we want to treat water like it's a solid, even though it's a liquid. But that liquid requires a specific force, and it requires a specific speed pushing on the water. Unfortunately, I can't teach you how to do that. What I can teach you, though, is how to set up your arms so you're going to have the maximum amount of surface area in order to push down. Number 2. We need to understand water is basically zero gravity, okay? Water is zero gravity. That's just the mentality you're going to have. When you push off in water, you push off into outer space. Now, what direction is up? Okay? That's the next item. What direction is up? And we'll tie it back into the whole zero gravity thing here in just a second. So the two main ideas here is water is zero gravity and what direction is up. What direction's up? This direction's up. As I'm sitting in my chair, I am sitting and gravity is pushing me down into the center of the planet. Okay? That's basic theory of gravity. Okay? They push you straight down into the planet. So for us humans that are bipedal and walk around upright, for upright humans, okay? I'm not going to discount you dudes in the wheelchairs. You're sitting upright for the most part. I've seen some guys that are, there's a special needs guy that actually lays back in his wheelchair all day. So typically when we're for 99% of us, we're sitting in the chair, our backs are upright, or we're walking around. The opposite direction that gravity pushes down is up, okay? So if I say reach up, you're going to be here. Now, when I tell a lot of you, okay, so how do you swim? you put your arms straight out from your body, okay, which, I mean, you're thinking, okay, this is a lateral, water is not vertical. I reach straight out, grab water, and push it backwards. That's wrong. That is not correct. That is not technically correct. Why? We're flat on the water. We're prone on the water, and we're swimming horizontally in a perpendicular direction to the surface of the water. No, don't swim perpendicular to the surface of the water. Swim parallel. It's early, okay? We swim parallel to the surface of the water. Don't swim perpendicular to the surface of the water. Okay, Frito, edit all of that out. Okay, for those of you that don't know, I have, so I also do a gaming stream, And this is known as the Frito Bandito Taqueria. So I have a taco chef off camera, and he's always making virtual tacos, and he's also the guy that if I screw up anything, he makes sure none of it gets to air. Okay, Frito, make sure the whole comment about me swimming perpendicular, about telling everyone to swim perpendicular to the water surface, make sure that doesn't get to air. Okay? All right, good. Okay, let's reset. 3, 2. Okay, so when you swim like this, that's putting your hand perpendicular to the water surface. We actually want to be parallel to the water surface. So we swim parallel to the surface of the water. So what direction is up? Okay? Because if I'm here like this, but then I rotate 90 degrees, that now becomes up. So when you swim, we need to shift, we need to rotate our frame of reference of what is up by 90 degrees, okay? So for the purposes of swimming, up and out, okay? Up and out. I think only 3 of us heard the perpendicular. Hey, you know what? I get it. I streamed super early. I came across 2 Team Zooters, and one of them said, "Dude, Pharaoh, you gotta petition Zoot to get a better time slot." I'm like, "What do you mean? That's the time slot I set because it's the only time I can do this." I don't have any other time during the day to actually pull this stream off. Maybe in the future when my children are more self-sustained and I don't have dozens of hours of yard work to accomplish. But anyway, so back to the parallel swimming. We want to redefine what is up, okay? Down is where your feet are. Where your feet are is where you started, okay? So you want to think about where you start and where you end. You're going to push off from the start and you're going to move to the end, okay? So basically, the wall that you pushed off is the ground, okay? That's the main idea. And then when you push off from the ground and you jump up into the air, because the push off is nothing more than a jump. You're jumping up into the air and you're reaching up into the air and you're grabbing a magical sky brick and you're pushing it down. Up is the wall, buoy, opposite shoreline. That's the opposite, that's the place where you want to go. Down is where your feet were. So if I stand up and I grab here and I push it down to the ground, that's pushing my fingers towards my leg and ultimately pointing down to where our feet are. So what we want to do is we want to change our mindset to where we're pulling in an up to down fashion. This is going to make a lot more sense when we start, really diving into the stroke technique, and I'm going to be back here, and I'm going to have a lot more camera real estate. So overall, what direction is up? Up is the wall you want to swim to. Down is the wall that you're pushing off from, okay? So next, pull-up theory. What is pull-up theory? How do we do and or attempt pull-ups? Okay, I get it. Not all of us are good at pull-ups. Full disclosure, I was terrible at pull-ups. I have always been terrible at pull-ups. I'm starting to lift weights again on Mondays and Fridays, and one of my major goals is to actually be able to consistently do pull-ups. I want to be able to do 20 pull-ups. Like, that's my legitimate goal. So, and I have no idea what my time frame is for that goal. But pull-up theory, okay? The swim stroke kind of looks like a pull-up, all right? So we're going to go back to here, and we're going to go to the slow. And let me see here. Let me see if I can stop it in the right place. Okay? So, I know you can't see this very well because I'm from the side, but what's happening is my hand is bent, my arm is bent in about a 90-degree angle. It's about 90, it's a little bit more than 90 degrees, okay? So, if you put both my hands together, you have butterfly stroke. Okay, I'm kidding. I know I made a lot of you very nervous. But if I reach up, grab a bar, and bring it towards, and I bring my chin towards the bar to do a chin up, what's going on here? My elbows are bent. My hand is underneath my body. Okay? When we do pull-ups, we like to keep the hands underneath our body. We like to bend the elbows, okay? Unless you're one of those weirdos that do muscle-ups, okay? That actually can do this with straight arms, all right? And we also don't want to do pull-ups with extremely wide grip, all right? So just keep this visualization in your mind, all right? We're pushing down with a bent elbow. So what does this have to do with swimming? Pull-up theory is how you push water from your head, from above your head down to where your feet are. Okay? Pull-up theory is it. The basics of this, and we're really going to deep dive into this in the pulling stream, but hand in, elbow out. Okay? If you start doing this, you're going to be about 80% of the way there. So now what am I talking about? First off, we're going to avoid pushing the hand down to the bottom of the pool. So imagine water surface is here. Okay, water surface is right at my ear line. Okay, and I'm reaching up, I'm grabbing water. And if I push like this, I'm pushing my hand down to the bottom of the pool. Now, some of you may be thinking, wait a minute, but isn't this going to give me a whole lot of surface area to push? Isn't this exactly what you were talking about? Yes, but no. What are we sacrificing with this long surface area? But actually, when you're here, you get more surface area between your bicep and your forearm. Just kind of the way water works. This actually brings this actually traps more water in the pushing phase. That's like huge fluid theory, like deep into fluid theory. This is a much better position than this, okay? This is like swinging a toothpick through the water. And on top of that, you're using very, very weak muscles, okay? That's another one of the big things that I'm going to be talking about is muscle groups. Why are certain pulling styles very inefficient? And I think this time around, I'm really going to figure out how to get someone to do underwater filming. I'm gonna get my dad's GoPro and I'm gonna take it to the pool and I'm gonna get some underwater filming. So the big key is, why are certain pulling methods very inefficient? 90% of the reason are the muscle groups that are involved with the pulling. Okay, so if you push down here, if you bring your arm all the way out and you kind of flex your arm and you push all the way down, okay, you're going to feel a lot in the shoulder. You're going to feel a lot behind the shoulder, kind of in this upper back area. So if you stretch your arm all the way out and push and do that, you're going to feel a certain set of muscle groups. Now, if you reach up, bring your hand in front of you and push down, and you really kind of flex everything that's moving, you're going to feel a lot more in the pectorals. You're going to feel a lot more in the bicep. You're going to really feel a huge difference in the muscle groups, okay? This is what we're going to be doing with Feral Swim Tech. We're going to be engaging the correct muscle groups. We're going to really be focusing on how to put your body in the right position, okay? So, excuse me. So with pull-up theory, we want to be using a proper position that we would use for pull-ups because that engages the correct muscle groups. Honestly, if you do lift weights, pull-ups are going to be one of your best friends if you want to overall increase the strength of your swim stroke. Another best friend you're going to have are stretch cords. I actually have a stretch cord. strapped to my desk here. And stretch cords are very cheap. If you cannot do pull-ups, this is going to be your next best friend. I have a link tree that I will be posting down in the comments right now. And on my link tree, I have a link to an Amazon store. I got a basic set of stretch cords that I recommend. And if you use that link and then buy your stretch cords, a portion of the sales will help the stream because I am an Amazon affiliate. But working on engaging those muscles on dry land is going to be one of the ways that we really work on our swim technique without having to get to the pool. Now, that's going to be the next item. Is dry land actually can do you a lot of good. A lot of what I'm going to be teaching you and working through with this series is going to be how to work on your stroke technique on dry land. Because I understand a lot of you can't get to the pool all the time. The number one way to get better at swimming is simply go to the pool every single day and spend an hour or 2 hours swimming. Spending more time in the water is going to get you more accustomed to the water. More accustomed to the water, you're going to be more efficient in the water. What happens if you only have 1 or 2 swimming things a week? Dry land. One of my biggest recommendations is you get a weight bench like I have back here. And this specific weight bench is also on my Amazon cart or Amazon list. This bench is going to be a much better investment than a bunch of swim toys, okay? With this bench, you can swim on dry land. You can be nice and flat. You can grab water above you, and you can push it down to your feet. You can do dry swimming on a weight bench, okay? And on top of that, it's a good weight bench. So we want to be able to find ways at home to work on swimming in order to make our pool time more efficient, okay? So next, what's another one of my theories? Another one of my theories is spend more time working on your stroke rather than grinding and pounding through yards. Now, one thing you're not going to get a lot of during these streams are do this workout and you'll instantly improve your swim time. Do this workout and you're going to be a faster swimmer immediately. That's not what I do, okay? I'm not a real swim workout coach. I am my bread and butter is the technical, what do you need to do to set yourself up to swim faster, okay? I'm not going to give you a bunch of sets. There will be a couple streams where I talk about basic workout creation, but for a lot of you, especially if you're coming to this stream saying, okay, what on earth, how do I do this? You're going to want to change your mentality of workouts. And the main reason why we want to do this is we want to shift our focus from swimming yards to becoming better swimmers. Now, what does this mean? Where a lot of you probably are going to the swimming pool and saying, "Hey, you know what? I got an hour. I'm just going to swim for an hour." And then you just kind of push off. You swim at 25. You stop. You push off. Swim another 25. And then maybe you say, well, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to swim a whole 50. I'm going to swim there and back. And then I'm going to rest for about 5 minutes. So and then there's a lot of people that, you're with TriDot, you're with Training Peaks. You have a workout that a coach gave you. And you're swimming slower than 2 minutes or 145 per 100. And you're just continuously not swimming faster. So what would I say that you need to do in terms of your actual workouts? Well, what I believe you need to do is you need to split equal time stroke technique and actual swimming, where you need to drill, swim, drill, swim, drill, swim. Drill a 25, swim a 25. Drill a 50, swim a 50. And that needs to be well over 50 to 75% of your workout. Why is this? Okay. Think about this. For me, when I first started working with triathletes, because when I work with younger swimmers, usually on average, a lot of slower kids that I work with swim about 130 or faster. Like slow kids swim about 130 or faster. That's what I considered slow. And then I got into triathlon, and I realized that there are people that are swimming 215, 230 per 100. Now that blew my mind. Okay. And this is my swimming competitive elitism coming out here. I fully recognize this. I had no idea people could swim that slow. Okay. It just never crossed my mind. But then while analyzing these strokes, I'm realizing, okay, there's a lot of efficiencies with this stroke. And then it hit me. This is how these people are swimming workouts. They're swimming workouts this slow. Wait, you can't swim that many yards when you're swimming this slow. Okay, so first off, your amount of training that you're actually able to do is severely hampered by how fast you're able to swim. So what needs to happen is about 2 minutes or slower. Your workouts should be at least 50 to 60% stroke technique work, 40% straight swimming without doing any hyper-focused technique work. You got to work on your technique. Your technique is killing you in the water. So work on body positioning. Usually the biggest culprits are, it's a lot of patience. Hey, you know what? Patience is a virtue, okay? I'm a horrendously impatient person, okay? I want to be done with that 25 as fast as I possibly can, okay? Okay. Thanks, Paul. Hey, you know what? We all are at our own part on the journey, and we all need to laugh and have levity and joke at ourselves during this journey, okay? Okay. I served a church mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from 2003 to 2005. For 2 full years, I was not allowed to touch water, okay? I finished my freshman year at BYU. I served 2 full years. I didn't touch water for 2 years, okay? The most I ever did was one night I got sick, and I actually drew a bath in order to induce a fever. True story. That's the most I ever was submerged in water for 2 full years, or when I was able to baptize people. Okay. So I got back, and then I had about 3 months. I had May, June, July, and August to get back in shape. I got back in the water, and 12-year-olds were lapping me in the pool. That was the most pathetic I ever was as a swimmer. I was having 12-year-olds lap me as a 21-year-old, and I'm just like, oh, and I gotta swim back in college? What the crap? Okay, so anyway, if you're swimming slower than 2 minutes per 100, you gotta hyper-focus on that technique. Because here's the idea. You're not getting a lot of yards to begin with. We gotta make all those yards quality yards, and quality yards is spent fixing your technique, okay? So now is going to be the off season for a lot of people. Some of you may have Ironman La Quinta. I know that's coming up. I know that there's a couple more races coming up in November and December. But for a lot of you, this is your off season. Use this time to work on stroke technique. That's why I'm starting this now. So use this time when you're in the water, especially if you're slower than 2 minutes. Hyper focus on technique. Drill, baby, drill. That's not a political slogan. That's going to become your way of life. You're going to do a bunch of drills. Check back in the VODs. I will be posting drills, appropriate drills with the videos if you're on YouTube or Rumble. Also, Rumble amigos, I am so sorry. I am so far behind on uploading videos. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to throw a bunch of videos on a flash drive, and I'm going to take them up to work, and I'm going to start uploading them while I'm doing work. just because I know that I've been very lazy with the Rumble channel, and I do profusely apologize on that. We're going to be adding more content, and within the next month, I should get everything up to date on the Rumbles. So it's very important when we swim to be working on this technique. And, okay, so that's the 2 minutes or faster. 145 to 2 minutes, you still need to be working heavily on technique, except it's about 40 to 50% technique, okay? If you're 145 to 130, you're still about 30 to 50% technique. Once you're faster than about 130 per 100, a lot of you don't really need to work on technique. I recommend about 20% working on technique. If you're faster than 115, 120 per 100, you don't really need to work on technique. Like even me, I know that my arms are starting to sweep more over the water. I'm not getting that nice high elbow recovery. So that's actually something I'm specifically working on. I'm personally working on my recovery. And I average about 105, 110 per 100 if I'm swimming in a pool. Okay, if I'm swimming like hundreds in a pool, if I'm swimming 200s, I'm about 110. If I'm swimming a 500, I'm about 110 to 115. If I'm swimming about 2,000, I'm swimming about anywhere from a mile to 2,000 yards. I'm about 115, 120 per 100, just because my arm endurance isn't there, okay? My body simply won't let me swim that fast just because I am not that much in swimming shape. Cardiovascularly, I do great. My arms just turn to jelly because they're not used to being worked that hard. And that whole reason is because I teach swim lessons when I should be working out. Remember, if you live in the Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, well, Western San Bernardino County, Northern OC County, Northern San Diego County, or Ventura County, I do swim lessons. I'm located in a town called Glendora, California. I do lessons at my local high school. So if you live in this area and you want to do in-person lessons, check the link tree. There's actually a link to set up a in-person swim lesson. If you live outside of that area, feralswimtech@gmail.com, or if you can't make it to Glendora, I understand traffic sucks. If you can't make it to Glendora, when I do my swim lessons, feralswimtech@gmail.com, send me an email there, and I will be able to work with you, and we could set something up on like a Saturday or something. I can come over to you, and we can do a lesson there. Also, another big thing that I do, and this is a free service I do for the team, is virtual stroke technique reviews. If you go to my YouTube or my Rumble page, you will notice that I do stroke technique reviews for people. This is very similar to oh my gosh, I'm blanking on all those guys. Effortless Swimming, and a couple of those other online services, except I'm a whole lot cheaper. I actually do these for free, and I request donations. So if you like what you see here, you can donate. Can't pay a lot, donate a little, can pay a lot, and you really like what you see here, feel free to donate as much as you possibly can. I don't set a price because I want you to be able to get this information without costing an arm and a leg, without a subscription, without any of that garbage. One of these days, I do want to set up a website like that, but today's not that day. feralswimtech@gmail.com. You want me to review your stroke, I'll point you in the right direction. Usually I give about 3 major key points to work on. I do a lightning round where I just kind of spitfire, everything that I'm seeing, but I drill down into 3 specific areas and give you the ideas and the techniques that you need in order to improve that specific aspect of your stroke. And they are custom tailored to each person, to where I am making sure that you have the mentality that you need in order to succeed. So if you want me to review your stroke, feralswimtech@gmail.com. I actually have one video I got to put together tonight. But if you want me to review your video, you don't know what to take, what angles do I need, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll send you my canned response of, hey, there's the angles. It's kind of a couple paragraphs of text that I've done. I've sent so many people this. I've just saved it in a text file and just paste it in the email. Here's the angles that you need. Grab video, send it to me. I'll review your technique, get you what you need. Okay, so that handles that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of battling a headache right now. I've had not a lot of sleep over the past couple nights. Pulling theory. So we did that. Yeah. So that's actually basically everything that I can think of. We were hitting the hour mark, which is about as long as I like to do these streams. So once again, just understand in closing, swimming is very weird. We're basically in zero gravity. When you push off the wall, you're launching into outer space, and you're clawing at outer space in order trying to reach the outer limits of the solar system, okay? In a very silly, whimsical way, that's what we're doing. We're reaching above us, grabbing some stuff and pushing it down and hoping we continue to move upward. That's what we're doing. It's very weird. It's very unnatural to us, and we're putting our face in water. We can't breathe water, okay? So these are the overall meta concepts of what we're doing with swimming. Okay. Next time, I think we're going to talk about body positioning next time, because we need to understand body positioning, and then we'll probably do kick. That's because body positioning and kick are the two biggest issues the majority of people have. So on the next episode, we're going to drill down into body positioning theory, the ideas. Why is it so gosh dang hard to keep our legs on the surface of the water? So we're going to be doing that next week. So the stream will be on Wednesday at about 5:15 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So we're back to the rest of the nation in terms of daylight savings time. So Pacific Standard Time is when I do these streams. And as always, I upload them to YouTube and Rumble eventually. So, so that's going to be it for me this morning. Make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on stream. Follow me on my socials, Feral Swim Tech on Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. So as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, email me, feralswimtech@gmail.com. I can usually get back to you within about 15-20 minutes. So if you're on Friday stream, make sure and give a little shout out to Feral Swim Tech. Let the guys know at Zoot. So just full disclosure, I do not get paid by Zoot to do these streams. I just had this idea back in it was like early 2020, before all the pandemic crap hit. I had this idea. Actually, no, it was, when did I start? Because I started somewhere around 2020, doing at the very beginning of 2020, doing a live stream for swimming on the local SoCal Facebook group. And then when the pools all started to reopen, I pitched the idea to Mark, and Mark Goddard, who is the main guy. He does the Friday streams. And I was like, hey, I got this idea. I've had, I knew that there were people from other regions that were actually joining the SoCal so they could actually watch the streams. So I was like, hey, you think I could do it on like the main Facebook page? And he goes, sure, great. So this is my usual call out to those that are running technique coaches and cycling technique coaches. If you are very, very knowledgeable in either of those fields, please give me a call or shoot me an email. I would love to help more people be able to do streams like this. Basically, I do my stream, Mark does his stream on Fridays. There's a bunch of openings to where if you're super knowledgeable in one of those fields, come on, make a stream. I can teach you how to do everything. You can do these streams with just a phone. You can totally do these. Very easy to set up. I can walk you through it. I can show you how to do everything that I do. I've been doing this since 2016. I'm very comfortable doing this. I can teach you how to do it. So let's try and get more team members to do these streams so we can help each other out. Oh yeah, full disclosure, I do get a couple freebies every now and then from Zoot. I get some free swimsuits. I get a couple free shirts maybe maybe once a year I get a shirt or two. And when a new wetsuit comes out, I get a new wetsuit. So that's what I get from Zoot to do these. I do not get paid to do these. Usually if the ways I get paid are doing the stroke technique reviews through donations, or if you buy stuff from Amazon, or you get Dynamic Triathlete subscriptions. Those are the ways that I get paid. If you look at the link tree all the way down below, there's a couple affiliates that I'm with. I got a USB cable company that I'm with. A couple receipt apps. All those things, they help the stream out monetarily. So, and also, if you're really keen on just straight up donating to this stream, feralswimtech@gmail.com. I'll get you a Venmo link. Yeah. So, okay. So that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Next week, body positioning. So keep training. Any questions at all, feralswimtech@gmail.com. And yeah, so that's going to be it for me today. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Keep training. And until later, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris, wherever you are. I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.